Yeah, really excited about our class and thankful for our staff. We've worked extremely hard to bring in 3 great players in our 3rd recruiting class. I think it's definitely comparable to our first class, probably a step ahead of that first class. And 3 kids that'll be difference makers in our program from top to bottom. They're all athletic, they all have toughness, and they're all really driven players, which will turn into really good college basketball players. Starting with Sierra Rice. Sierra had offers from Michigan, Minnesota, Arkansas, and Auburn, and chose us in the end. Great kid, has the #1 recruit in Michigan, has a great chance to be their Miss Basketball. I think their high school team has gone 68-7 in the last 3 years. She played for All Ohio her sophomore year. She played on a team that was a top 4 or 5 team AAU-wise. This last year wasn't quite as good, but still really good AAU basketball team. And great kid, 5'9" guard, tough, athletic, defends, rebounds, gets to the rim, can shoot the 3. She can really is a complete basketball player and probably one of the best defending guards that we saw out all last summer. Jalen Kirkpatrick really came down to Vanderbilt and us, where Utah was another school that had offered her. She had a lot of other schools try to get in late, Iowa State, but Northwestern, but turned those schools down because she was already set with really Vanderbilt and us. She's the #1 guard in Canada, #1 point guard. I think #2 overall in Canadian recruiting. 2 years ago in the summer at the FIBA 17 and under, she's had the most assists of any player in the whole tournament. And the FIBA basketball is really high-level basketball. You look at Spain and USA and Canada and many really good teams. And so she's a lot. Tiana, her first evaluation of her said, this kid's a lot like Kylie Simmons. Well, we have a feeling Kylie Simmons is about to be one of the best point guards in the Big Ten and one of the best point guards in the country. So that's pretty high praise. So really excited to get her and have her coming. Alex Whittinger is the 3rd player. Alex was kind of going under the radar. She was a Division I volleyball, Division I basketball, and really good in track. And we knew about her, had called a couple times before the Boo Williams Nike Nationals in the spring, and went out and watched her play, and she just blew up there. She played really, really well. And then everybody in the Midwest, Nebraska, Iowa State, Iowa, many schools tried to get in her. She came to visit us and had planned to make a decision in the summer and came here and fell in love with our team and our staff. And we did a really good job recruiting her. And then she, thankfully, after she visited, she verbaled the next day, which was huge because she would have had pretty much everybody recruiting her. She is one of the best defending post players that you'll see. Block shots, run the floor, tough, get to the rim, and just really athletic. I know this summer they talked about several times her going up and getting rebounds around the rim because she's so athletic and so long. So, those 3, really good class for us. And again, time will tell. It's a signing day. You never know what kids are going to look like down the road, but we feel really good about all 3 of them. Think they're going to be impact players and have a chance to play for us as freshmen and continue to raise this program. Obviously, our 3rd recruiting class, and really important that we continue to add great recruiting classes, and we definitely feel like we've done that with this class.
I think with all 3 of them, you mentioned tough, defensive, driven. Is that kind of a theme that you look for when you're recruiting players?
It is. It's something that you can't, it's hard to, we talk about that a lot. Can you make a kid tougher? And I don't think you can make a soft kid really tough. I think you can grow it a little bit, and it's something that we've seen our kids grow. But all 3 of these kids, when you watch them play, coaches would say that's a tough kid. And you don't say that a whole lot, especially in the AAU circuit. And I think anybody that watches these 3 players would think they got some toughness to them. And that's a really important quality. And they're really driven. They're kids that travel a long ways, play AAU and played on Canadian national team. So kids that are want to be good and want to work at it, and kids that are going to get a lot better.
In Alex's case, you don't see it as much anymore where an athlete will play 3 sports at that high a level in high school. How much do you think that'll help her once she just kind of focuses on basketball?
Yeah, I think she's just, only began to touch the surface of where she can go basketball-wise. For a little while she thought about playing volleyball, and she had a lot of BCS schools recruiting her for volleyball, and they decided to focus on basketball. And then in track, she runs the hurdles and makes it to state. And, she looks a little different than the 5'7" girls running the hurdles. So I think she is going to get a lot better. We see a ton of potential in her. And again, she's just driven and not going to back down from anything. This summer she guarded Odin, who was, I think, the top 5 player in the 2016 class, and the kid wouldn't shoot with Alex Gardner. She blocked her first shot the rest of the game. And the next game, that kid goes on and scores 20-some points, and they win the Nike Nationals. Well, Alex shut that kid down. Nobody else did in that whole tournament, but Alex did.
I guess with Jalen, to touch on the toughness again, does her national team experience help her in that regard?
Yeah, I think that does. I think obviously playing against the USA and playing against the very best. I know I saw her in a later game, but Coach Vilbus saw her at a tournament, Deep South tournament, similar to the Boo Williams tournament, and she played against one of the top 2016 point guards and went toe-to-toe and probably won that game. You know, the other team had a better overall team, but Jalen was every bit as good as that kid, and that kid is listed as maybe the top point guard in the country in the 2016 class, and Jalen was every bit as good as her in that game.
I think ESPN might have had Sierra listed as a point guard too. I mean,
yeah, she's kind of a combo. She plays point guard for a high school team. She has played the point. She played a little point on her AU team. She's probably more of a 2, but she can handle the ball. She can certainly get to the rim, and gives us that flexibility to kind of play her at multiple positions.
You can play her and Jalen in the back.
Yeah, they can definitely play together. Jalen's probably more of a true point, and Sierra's probably more of a true 2.
I know last year we talked a lot about Shatrice, and now you got her on campus. You look at the rankings of these players, you got to like that if you're a fan. Did you see momentum picking up at some point in the recruiting process over the last couple of years?
Yeah, you know, as every kid, there's ups and downs. You know, we were after a couple other kids that we didn't end up getting. So there's always ups and downs, and you know, we got Jalen and Sierra were both late. They were both this fall commitments, and so you never know through the recruiting process. You know, it went into their senior year, and when their kids are taking official visits, you know, there's a lot of stress with that. And one thing we've said as a staff, if we get a player on campus and they get to spend time with our staff and our players and see this great university, we've got a shot. Every one of the kids that we've had on an official visit, it's really been neck and neck with us and some of the top schools in the country, and we've beaten out a lot of the top schools once we get them on campus.
Do you consider this class finished? Or?
Yeah, we're still kind of open-minded to maybe one more in this class. We're not real deep in the post. If we could find a post, we don't want to take a kid that's a project. It's going to take 3 or 4 years to develop. If we find somebody that you know, can be a difference maker and come in and play some as a freshman, then we'll look at that. If not, the 2016 class is loaded, and we've already got a couple of kids, you know, early in that. So we'll see how it goes. But we'd be open to one more kid if it's the right kid.